I get a lot of comments on my channel, especially when I talk about the salary question, when they ask, what's your current salary? Have you ever gotten that question in a job interview? Right? That's pretty common. Now, some parts of the world, a few parts of the world, they're making that question illegal in the sense that you can't ask it, even though a lot of people still do, even in regions where it's illegal to ask it. But the vast majority of the world, it's not illegal. They can ask you that, and they do. And the problem is that they're not entitled to that information, right? What you did with someone else, with a third party, is none of their business. You can voluntarily disclose it if you wish, but they're not entitled to it, right? So they can't demand that you tell them any more than they can demand to know your credit card number, So imagine you went to a job interview and someone said, what is your credit card number? We need to know. How would you respond? It's that same response you give to the salary question. And my recommendation is to say, well, because of, I have a personal policy of not disclosing that information because of confidentiality and privacy issues. I'm sure you understand. That's just a great way to respond professionally, but basically say no. It's a hard no. And the follow-up thing is that, as I was saying before, a standard tactic for a lot of low-level recruiters is to then ask that question again. If they ask a question and you don't give the answer they're looking for, they ask it again, and a lot of rookies, a lot of young people will crack. And they'll think like, oh, I got to do better. And that answer wasn't good enough for them. And they then go off script and waffle a bit. And then that's when they really stumble, because now they're giving them all kinds of information that they shouldn't be doing because it's bad for them. Right. And all the recruiter had to do was ask the question twice. That's all they had to do to get you to answer it. Right. You put up some resistance, but then they ask you, say like, yeah, I understand that. But then they ask you again, right? So what you do then is, remember this, you give the same answer again with a smile on your face. They say, yeah, I understand that. But listen, we really need to know, what was your previous salary, right? What was it? What number? And you say, okay, listen, like I understand, that you really need this, but like I explained, unfortunately, I can't disclose that because of my personal policy, because privacy issues, confidentiality issues, these are real. I'm sure you understand. So unfortunately, I can't be of more help to you, and then you just shut up, right? That's all you have to say. You repeat the same answer, maybe not the exact same words verbatim, but you basically give the same answer again, and you have a smile on your face. You don't make it awkward. You don't make it uncomfortable, right? You diffuse it. That's something to practice when you're rehearsing for job interviews. Practice smiling. They ask you an awkward question, and you go, okay, sure. Yeah, well, and then you answer with a smile on your face. And that's actually demonstrating some high-level collaborative and interpersonal skills. You're able to diffuse a potentially awkward situation. So there you go. That's how you answer that. If they ask you the same question twice, which is a tactic that is quite effective for them, you give the same answer. Again, you don't have to elaborate further. You don't have to go deeper. You don't have to give any ground. You just smile, give the same answer again, essentially, and then shut up when you're done. And you let them move on to the next question. That's how you do these things. I know about you, but I wish they had taught me this kind of stuff back when I was in high school. I remember they would teach kids the basics of how to do a job interview. I remember getting that maybe one day or something in all of high school. I remember, I think they could have spent a little more time on it. And when I see a lot of what young people are getting today, what they're being taught in school and when they're coming out into the job market, they really are unprepared. They really don't know what's going on. And I don't know, it's kind of a crime. I wish that people were better prepared.